1 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 16-17. For the day will come when the Lord himself shall descend from the heavens, not as an ambassador or representative, but the Lord himself, with a resounding shout, the voice of the Archangel, and the Trumpet of God. At his command, the departed faithful shall rise first, and then those who are alive and remain shall be caught up with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. From that moment onward, we shall forever be in the presence of the Lord. This passage speaks of the glorious day when the Lord, with a triumphant shout that will penetrate even the graves, will return from heaven. It emphasizes the certainty of this event and contrasts it with the uncertainty of the world we live in. It encourages us to prepare for the rapture, to ensure we are ready to meet the Lord in the air when that moment comes. It underscores the immeasurable joy and peace that await us in heaven, a place free from fear, sorrow, and suffering. The rewritten version also addresses the anticipation and assurance that believers should have regarding the rapture. The anticipation of the rapture is not one of fear but of hope and expectation. The rapture is a moment that believers should long for, a moment when we will be reunited with loved ones who have gone before us. Just imagine the breathtaking scene when those who have passed on rise from the grave, and we, who are still living, are transformed in the twinkling of an eye into our glorious, eternal bodies. In that split second, our earthly worries, fears, and sorrows will be left behind. No more sickness, no more pain, no more death. The rapture will usher us into a world where all these sufferings are forgotten, a world where joy knows no end. It is crucial for every individual to examine their heart and relationship with the Lord. The rapture is an event that will come suddenly and without warning. We don't know when it will happen, and there will be no notification. That's why we must live each day as if the Lord could call our name in the clouds at any moment. The rapture is not a moment of despair or regret for the believer but a glorious event to anticipate with great excitement. We should look forward to it as the day we will enter into eternal bliss and the loving presence of our Savior. It is the day when all our earthly cares and tribulations will be forever behind us, replaced by a never-ending joy and peace that can only be found in the presence of the Lord. So, let us prepare our hearts and live each day with a sense of urgency, knowing that at any moment, the Lord may come with a resounding shout and the call of the trumpet, and we will be caught up to meet him in the air. May our hearts be filled with hope and assurance, as we eagerly await the day of the rapture when we will be forever with the Lord. The anticipation of the rapture should not be clouded by doubt or fear but rather embraced with unwavering faith. Our faith is not based on our own efforts but on the unmerited grace of God. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 8-9 reminds us that it is by grace through faith that we are saved, not by our works, so that no one can boast. The assurance of salvation comes from believing in our hearts and confessing with our mouths that Jesus is Lord, as stated in Romans chapter 10 verse 9. The rapture is the culmination of our faith, the moment when we are reunited with the Lord, and all doubts and uncertainties are left behind. It is a promise, as sure as the rising sun, and as believers, we must eagerly anticipate it. The world may question and mock the concept of the rapture, just as they did with Noah when he warned of the impending flood. But just as Noah and his family were saved, a remnant will be taken up in the rapture. The world may not understand, but we do, and we must live our lives in readiness for that glorious day. As we look forward to the rapture, let us not forget those who have not yet received the message of salvation. The rapture will be a wake-up call to the world, a revelation of the truth. Imagine the countless individuals who will realize the reality of Christ and his saving grace too late, those who had dismissed the message of the gospel. Let this be a reminder to us to share the good news of salvation with everyone we can, while there is still time. In conclusion, the rapture is not a time for apprehension or fear, but a time for hope, anticipation, and preparation. It is a divine promise that should fill our hearts with joy and our lives with purpose. Let us eagerly await that glorious day, living our lives as faithful witnesses of Christ's love and grace, and always being ready to meet the Lord in the air when that moment arrives.